War Eagle, War Report family. I'm your host, C-Dub, and we are here to break down Auburn's big win over Oklahoma as part of the SEC Big 12 Challenge. We'll break that down. Of course, I'm joined by Ike and Mike. We'll do player of the game. We'll also discover keys or tools to the game, and we'll actually preview Auburn's upcoming match with Bama. So you definitely want to hang around for that. But for now, sit back, get your weight up, because your weekend tailgate starts right now.
You are now listening to a War Report Weekend Tailgate, brought to you by University Ace Hardware. It's your boy, I John. Be Will, C-Dog, Mike G. Get ready, sit on back as we bring you the War Report Weekend Tailgate.
War Eagle, everyone. War Eagle, happy Sunday. Welcome to the latest Weekend Tailgate brought to you by our good friends and sponsors, University Ace Hardware. For your hardware needs, always remember that Ace is the place for you. And guys, please continue to support us by supporting our sponsors. So if you're ever in the Auburn area, please be sure to stop by 2101 East University Drive in Auburn, across the street from the mall. Drop in and let them know that your good friends at the War Report sent you. Also, shout out to those of us in the community. Glad you guys are hanging out with us on a Sunday. And if you happen to be watching this either live or on replay, please do us a favor. Share this video on social media using hashtag #GetYourWeightUp. Help people find our content, and let's help us to expand our community. Now, we have some great content for those of you who are patrons of the War Report, especially in this off season. Mike G is here to tell you all about it.
Hey, listen, become a patron. Patron is what we would like you to become. That is, don't confuse that with Patron. We take no responsibility for drinking and driving. But become a patron. $5.99 a month will get you there. We've got some great content starting in February. So come on board, you guys. This is the best way to support our content and help us keep this thing moving forward. The War Report is growing at a phenomenal rate right now. We want to keep that going January to July because we're working hard for you guys. Guys, we are partner with the Lee County Humane Society to raise money for a good cause. Go hit this fundraiser. The link is in the About section of our YouTube channel. 50 cents on every dollar goes to them to help them. Hashtag save all the puppies. Donations have slowed down a little bit. I get it. We do ask a lot of you guys, but we try to give back as well too. So help us give back to them by donating to this fundraiser. We are giving away a sweatshirt. Hashtag get your weight up in the comment. Wait, Ike, is this the one we're supposed to be giving away?
Nah, we're gonna do the let's do the
new one. The new one.
Let's do the new shirt, new t-shirt, bro.
Is it this one?
No,
man. Keep
this one?
scrolling.
This one?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, hold on, wait, time out. We're gonna get there, guys.
Boom!
Boom!
Get there.
Virginia double dribble.
There you go.
Hey, we're giving away a Virginia double dribble t-shirt. As always, you know, our stuff is made of fine Egyptian cotton with the War Report logo on the left sleeve. You definitely want this as a reminder so that we never, ever forget a grave injustice that was perpetrated upon Auburn one day in 2019. So, hashtag get your weight up. This is brought to you by GWT2 Energy Consulting Services. That's our guy, Walt Taylor, in the comments. He's sponsoring this. You guys asked. We have delivered. Hashtag Virginia double dribbled. Hashtag get your weight up in the comments. Let's go. Can't wait to bring this to you guys. Guys, we're on podcast. So visit us over on the old podcast platforms. Every single show is going up on podcast. We just chop out the stuff that's YouTube specific, but we bring you guys the relevant audio for the rest of the shows, plus any special segments we do, like our interview with Coach Bruce Pearl. So in case you missed it, yes, the War Report got Bruce Pearl 1-on-2. That's me and your boy Ike asking the legend, the man, the lifetime contract guy questions about the program. It was amazing. And if you haven't seen the latest presser with Bruce, go check that out as well too, man. He really kind of I don't know, man. I don't want to take any credit, but I want to say if Wendell ends up being okay for the rest of the season, I played a part. After my question, he said, Mike, it's a good question. I'm going to check on that. I said, hey, thanks, Coach. All right. So we're putting up these pressers. Go check that out. There's tons of content out there on the War Report to consume right now. So you guys go check out all that stuff.
Yeah, man. And a shout out to Jazzy. We almost got the challenge, but we missed it.
It was like 2 or 3 points off from what Mike had predicted for the final score.
You guys picked kind of low. I was shocked. Our average has been just around 81, 82 points. So I figured, I'll just pick our averages and see how it goes. And then at the end, like the way the free throws were falling, I was like, we're going to end up like hitting the three or getting an extra free throw or something. But, they ended up going well over the average, which is, not complaining about that.
Yeah. So, yeah, pretty sure we'll have another challenge. I'll look to play the averages next time, Mike. Maybe between the two of us, three of us, we can get there. What you got, Ike?
I was going to say, for the first time, just so everybody is aware, you don't have to wish for Corey to win the shirt today because he already has one.
He already has one. He already has one. But what would it be funny though?
Right. If he entered the thing and this is the day that his name came up, that would be hilarious. Actually.
That's it. He got the first one, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
One ever.
No one else, including the four of us on this show, have that shirt. Corey is the only person in the world that owns that shirt right now.
Yeah.
That's
Bob is asking. You sent it to him? Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. Let's go ahead and start talking about what's been happening in Auburn athletics. Let's start with Auburn's gymnastics team. How about it? And Suni Lee. Auburn, who's ranked number 8 in the nation, actually beat number 9 Alabama. How significant is this? I didn't even realize this, but this is the third time in program history Auburn has beaten Bama in head-to-head.
Yeah, they've been pretty good at gymnastics.
Yeah, Bama has been pretty good at
gymnastics. Yeah, so Suni Lee put up a total score of 39.7 to actually, and that caused her to win the all-around event for the Tigers. Her performance carried the Tigers to a pretty close margin of victory over the Tide. It was 197.525 to Bama's 197.125. And this was Auburn's actually second highest score in school history. The highest coming in 2015 against Georgia, where they had 197.750. Of course, Suni Lee also earned the top score in individual balance beam, which was a 9.975, and the bars, which was a 9.925. The Tigers are undefeated so far, and their next competition comes on the road against LSU. It was a packed house too for this event too. So I'm so proud of the Auburn family just getting up and supporting these athletes, especially when they're doing well. It was great to see that. Mike, you saw video clips of it. Tell me what you saw, man.
Yeah, listen, the student culture on campus right now is not bad. It's pretty good. And Caesar, I don't want to brag, but like it almost rivals the atmosphere, guys, of our 2004 campus experience when Auburn football was undefeated. Now, everything was live that year. Parties were live, house parties were just better that year because the football team was winning every weekend, right? So every bar we went to, it was jumping, people was punching my friends in the face. I mean, it was just off the hook, right?
Okay.
And so I looked at true story. I had one friend that just kept getting punched in the face by football players. But we had something special going there on campus that year. And when you look at what's going on now, I looked at a gymnastics meet, packed house with a bunch of students there, swag surfing after the win. Now, we're going to have to do a swag surfing tutorial for the students because like 2% of them know how to swag surf. But The excitement was amazing to watch, and the students have really rallied around just about every program that we have to help try to create a winning culture from a fan perspective as well too. So I hope they're taking notice on the football side, right? Like, it's not all just about winning. I just think it's about development and it's about culture. And we asked Bruce Pearl about that. Hey man, you get kids in. You're cranking out one and dones now, and ticket prices are through the roof, and it was all part of a process, a slow process. Now, if you ask most people, like, how did Bruce Pearl get 8 years? How did he get all the patience? And some people will tell you, well, the focus was all on football. So, like, his first 3 years, which were pretty mediocre, nobody was really paying attention because expectations have generally been pretty low on the football side. I don't know. I just feel like this is a blueprint for let coaches do what they do. Auburn gymnastics, a lot of it is being said of SUNY Lee, but let me tell you, all those girls are good. Now growing up, my mom was a big gymnastics person. And so, like, I watched my fair share of gymnastics because she wouldn't let me change the channel. More gymnastics and figure skating that I care to watch. However, I understand what I'm watching when I watch gymnastics. And I'm telling you, all those girls are good. They are really, really good. So they have something special going there. And then for SUNY in the post game, she says, everybody else has been beating Alabama, so we had to beat them too. And I thought that was a special quote, that she wants to get in on whooping Alabama's ass, even in gymnastics. So love it. It was great thing to watch.
Yeah, Ike, did you have you have anything, Ike, about what we're seeing outside of our major sports in terms of the fan support and just what we're doing?
I just liked seeing the video of this. Did you guys see the video of this right here?
Yes, it was so funny.
Yeah.
Like, was that the Bama girl? I thought that was one of our girls.
Nah, it's Bama girl. Like, so.
Well, they were like,
yes, they were like posing when she was doing her floor routine. Like, they were all dressed in these clown wigs. It was insane. I was like, are they allowed to do this? Because this feels like this is a distraction while this girl is doing her floor routine. But
right by the floor, like literally right by the floor.
It was hilarious, though. I was like, okay, so they have turned this into a real cultural activity for students, but it's all in support of the student athletes, man. So the culture around, I was very adamant that I didn't want to get into the fans ruining the recruiting thing on Twitter, but this just kicks that in the face. Like, you can't be an athlete and see the type of support that the students are giving you and not say, man, it looks like a fun place to go play, whatever sport, right?
Right.
You come to the jungle, you know it's going to be a raucous environment, and I want to play basketball in that type of environment. We'll get more into the basketball thing, but I will just talk about a quote that one of the commentators said about KD Johnson when he was at Georgia last year. It was a COVID year. A lot of the places weren't packed. He didn't realize what he was going to get into coming into the jungle playing for Auburn. He was just like, oh my goodness, this is unlike anything I've ever experienced before. Take that, Louisville. So it's just been an amazing thing to be able to see the student athletes get this type of support. I just want to see them do it for women's basketball too.
Thanks.
It's disappointing that the women's basketball team just beat the number 4 team in the country and there weren't more people there to see it.
Right.
Thanks.
Right.
Thanks.
And I think as that program grows, I'm pretty sure it will catch on as well. So,
but who was there? Jabari Smith.
Yeah, the men's basketball team showed up. Yeah,
and somebody else, I forgot. There was a third person there, and they were rushing the floor and hype, and they were gassing them up and just being good cheerleaders. Which I thought, again, the students can be attributed to this win because of their support. Other athletes are going out to support other sports. And it's about that environment. Everybody just wants to be in that environment consistently where fans are excited. And I'm telling you, man, it starts with the coach of one sport, right? Because I promise you, if basketball were down, a lot of this would not mean as much.
For sure. But props to Coach Harris and the women's basketball team. I know that team has not been very good. in the past few years, and even this year they've been up and down. But I think she's building something there. Coach Harris, holla at us. You need to come talk to the War Report. All right?
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
I think that she's building something with that program. I'm looking forward to seeing how Auburn's women's basketball team progresses over the next couple of years under the leadership of Coach Harris.
Yeah,
Indeed,
facts.
indeed. We got a question here from Corey, the first recipient of the Virginia Double Dribbled tee, and he asked. I know I asked this privately yesterday. Do we need a new OC?
I don't know where this was asked privately yesterday.
He asked me.
He asked
Okay.
me. He asked me as well.
Okay,
Yeah.
he might have asked me. I don't ever go on Twitter. Listen, I've heard a lot of the rumors floating around. As far as I know, no, we don't need a new OC. Until it's official, there's nothing that I know about it. I've probably heard the exact same rumors everyone else has heard. But as far as I know, that's all they are, is rumors.
Right. What we think we know is that he was given a leave of absence to take care of something personal.
Right.
Right. And if you're not aware, I guess he was missing for like junior day and hasn't been recruiting for the last 5 days. So people are starting to speculate because he has been missing from some of those activities.
Also, what I heard, not to cut you off, is that there weren't any quarterbacks here for junior day. And so he didn't have a ton of responsibilities for it either. So
Correct. Yeah. So,
right.
for a man that's got to relocate his life right from the West Coast, still, I'm sure there were some things left over to take care of that he needed to take care of. And I don't know. Like, I don't want to get any deeper than that. All right. Until something more concrete comes out. It sounded pretty flimsy to me. And people are hypersensitive right now about football because of, Eason departing and Mason departing. And, it's like, oh, where's Austin Davis? Right. Like, this is the part that they're talking about when they say the fan base this, the fan base that, right? Like, some of the wild speculation on things is tough. And I don't think that Brian Harsin if there's nothing going on, there's nothing for him to think about.
Right.
So I would rather just wait to see, if anything, move on, proceed as if nothing's happening. And just, they're going to shock us. They're going to shock us. But, it would be a pretty tough sell, I think, to go through that whole process that he went through to get the job.
Right.
And then now we know he wasn't the first choice, but hey, listen, people were just like, hey, why isn't he pulling the trigger on Zach Hill and this? And then look what happened to Zach Hill. Zach Hill got please have a seat, sir, by the NCAA for his role in some things. So the university did due diligence, right, and said and protected us from what would have been kind of embarrassing, hiring a guy and then all of a sudden he's sanctioned. Right. Like, so that would have done hell for recruiting. And this thing with Davis, I just think, at the end of the day, there are more reasons I feel like that that he will be here, more common sense reasons that, this is nothing than it being something, because it's at some point, as a person in this workforce, as a coach, you hurt your reputation by jumping from job to job so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I'm your next employer, I'm just like, oh, you made a commitment to these people and then you just bailed on this. So unless it's for a crap ton of money, or there's some justifiable personal reason that you're making that decision, it doesn't make a lot of sense, I think. But that's just my thoughts on it.
Yeah. Brian, or B Will, I guess he was referring to something you mentioned, talking about gymnastics and the culture that we're being. He said, no, it's definitely about winning. B Will's comments there.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know what he's talking about. Definitely about winning.
We all need, and of course, John had to super chat this. I guess I'm the next person John likes to pick on in terms of my background. John, I have books. There's a type of style in which people don't put a lot of books, but there are a lot of books up behind me that I'm covering up. So you don't care because the jokes are still going to come. So thanks for that.
The style is, I don't have any books.
Coach Harris is pulling off games she shouldn't, like Pearl did starting off. And it could be one of those situations,
Yeah.
Auburn was very up and down through Pearl's early years. So
Mm-hmm.
this could be the beginning of something special
Yeah.
with this women's basketball program. But again, it's we brought her in for a reason. The program needs to be built. Looks like she's well on her way to building it.
She's showing a pattern of development early, right?
Yeah.
So that win meant a lot to the program. And, you stack two more of those wins. Right now, they're just under 500, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is their record,
Mhm.
and who knows, man, if they go on a little run here, maybe they're a fringe bubble team for the tourney,
We'll see.
right? If they go on a good enough run. I mean, and now I'm not saying the same applies to women's basketball, but I mean, I guess it should. If you think about all the losses Alabama's going to have on their schedule by the end of the year, the thing that's going to get them in the tournament are those few impressive wins.
Right. Like
Gonzaga, Baylor, right? Like
Houston.
not us on Tuesday, but like, Houston, they'll have some impressive wins to point to say, hey, we can make a deep run in March if we get hot. And I think that she maybe this year, who knows, maybe she can do that this year, just pull off like 8 straight wins or something like that here at the end and, have a shot to go out there and make the tourney. I think that would be super exciting.
Indeed.
Right, to have 2 teams in the tourney come March.
Well, we're talking about basketball, and we talked about it on our live on Friday, but let's get into the actual details of what's perhaps the biggest win. And of course, much has been made about how well this Auburn basketball program plays defense, but our administration played the best defense of all by locking down Bruce Pearl and keeping other interested schools from getting to him. It was released over the weekend, the details of Bruce Pearl's contract. I know Mike and B. Will did a good job of giving their instant analysis once it was announced via Twitter with the AD and Bruce Pearl. Well, let's talk about Pearl's contract, shall we? It is an 8-year deal that will run through 2030. He will be making $5.4 million the upcoming season, that is the 2022 through 23. And after that, his annual salary will increase by $250,000 each year. Each season, he will make $250,000 more. His assistant coaches will also receive raises, but what's really key here is they've agreed to the plans for additions and enhancements to the Auburn Arena, including a separate practice facility for men's basketball. That is expected to be approved by the next Board of Trustees meeting that's actually coming up this upcoming week. And these were the terms by which Bruce Pearl agreed to, and even said that this wasn't a hard decision, putting to bed some of the speculation that was created by other people that said that was potentially mutual interest between Pearl's camp and Louisville or other schools that was interested in Pearl.
I definitely am going to talk about that point in the later segment, but yes.
Okay. All right. Ike, you was not here on Friday. I'll start with you first, man. What are your thoughts about what the university was able to do so quickly to solidify Pearl as Auburn's head coach moving forward?
So first and foremost, not surprised that this happened, right? Like there was, I don't know why. I guess because we have been a spurned fan base, we are so panicky about every little thing. It's like, oh my goodness, did you guys hear that? It's like Bruce Pearl did not want to leave Auburn. He didn't want to. We'd have had to force him out. He didn't want to leave. So I'm not surprised that this happened. What I am surprised about is how low the number was to start with. I thought it was going to be north of 6, but the incremental increases along the way will get him there. I do think it's interesting, though, that it feels like, he was just fine with getting a significant bump from where he was and making sure his staff was good, because I think the continuity of that staff is important to him. He wants to keep his guys here. And he knows that if they don't get more money, they're definitely going to go head coach hunting, right? Like people are going to offer him already. And so he's trying to give them enough incentive to stay, because if, again, as Mike said, if you listen to him talk about his staff, specifically on the interview that we had an opportunity to sit down with him, he credits them and the continuity of that staff with the success of the program. He's
Right.
very committed to the fact that having that stability on his staff allows him to be a successful head coach. And he wants to be able to maintain that in any way that he possibly can. So I think him taking less money for himself allowed more negotiating room for his staff to get in there and get more money, and also get him some more of those tools that he wanted, like the facility and all those things. He's like, listen, I'm good. I've got enough money. Pay me a little more to get me into a different, conversation as far as, what I'm doing for this program. But I need you guys to devote some money to these other things so I can continue to be successful. Because, again, he understands, despite all of the things that he's done to this point, he hasn't won a national championship, right? He's got a couple of SEC championships to his credit, but he wants to win titles, and he understands in order to do that, the program has to be successful. That means quality staff around him, quality facilities to bring in those new recruits so he can continue to retool, because if you're going to have one and done, you've got to figure out how to replace them. If you're going to have these big recruits come in via the transfer portal that have limited eligibility left, luckily, a lot of the guys that we have had pretty good eligibility, but if they're going to be on national title teams or contending teams, they're not sticking around for a long time. So you've got to be able to retool, and he made sure that he negotiated his way into a position to allow that to happen. Love it.
Mike G, your thoughts, man, on this?
Listen, it needed to be done. It needed to be done swiftly, to put to bed any controversy that might stir up in the middle of a national title run. So for Bruce Pearl, this was your perfect storm. And he did have some leverage. His agent did his job floating Louisville rumors. But, at the end of the day, he came out and squashed that pretty quickly. So in his statement with Alan Green, he said, guys, it wasn't that hard. This wasn't that hard. And then in a post-game presser recently, he said that he had been planning to settle down, right? Like he built his forever home out at Lake Martin already. Somebody had said that, weeks ago when this started happening. And it was just like, he was a man that everything pointed to the fact that he wanted to be here. And the only way he wasn't going to be here is if Auburn messed it up.
Right.
That's it. Auburn was going to have to mess this up. And they didn't. So we can move on. And, Ike's going to talk about it later, but there's a lot of talking heads that were trying to push another narrative for, I think, for whatever their reasons are. But at the end of the day, this is a man who wants to coach here. He's done a good job. I did get into an argument with somebody about, they were like, here we go again, paying another coach that hasn't won a championship. I was like, this is not the same thing as 2017, Gus. Right? It's been 8 years. We know what we have. So we're either anchoring in with this coach or we're moving on at this point. It's been 8 years.
Right.
We gave the last dude 8 years on football, 8 years as well, too.
And so his results were up and down. Bruce Pearl's results have been on a steady incline.
Right. With the 2020 aberration, but with some clear factors that were affecting that season.
Right.
Sharif Cooper being out. What was the kid? Justin somebody?
Powell.
Yeah. There were all kinds of things going on with that team. COVID. It was crazy. But then what does he do? The first transfer portal season, he goes out and he gets dynamite players that he can bring into play immediately, and he's on an epic run right now. This is worth every dime. Do you know how many few coaches ever achieve? Look how hard it is. It's a #1 ranking in college basketball. We've never done that.
Right.
He brought that to Auburn, and that's going to pay dividends in recruiting. And I think, he did say during our interview that he's on the back nine of his career, meaning he doesn't have forever left to coach. I assume when his contract is up, he'll make a decision about how many years he wants to coach after that, depending on where the program's at. So, I think if he gets to that 8th year and we have a strong team that looks like it can win a championship, returning, or if the conditions are favorable, it's going to be like in that kind of Tom Brady-ish, I'll coach another year, if conditions are favorable. Otherwise, this is what needed to happen, man. This guy he wants to be here. We have a coach that we love that's doing a good job. And to be clear, we loved him before 19-1, 20-1.
Right.
Right. I think his the path to development and what he's been doing his program was clear after like year 2 or 3. So, everybody really anchored in. And then in 2019, he delivered a Final Four run that it took a double dribble to stop, a non-call on double dribble to stop. So I fear for teams in the tourney, there will be no such luck this year. I'm telling you, this team is not going to let it come down to a missed double dribble call. They're tenacious. I like that 2019, obviously, up until now was my favorite. But I really think this team could take that team to the woodshed on defense. So he's done something special, deserves every dime. The last point I want to make about this is this move potentially makes him the 3rd highest paid coach in college basketball after this year. So if everybody's wondering if 5.4 was shortchanged, right? Right now, the coaches ranked in front of him are John Calipari, Mike Krzyzewski, Jay Wright at Villanova, Chris Beard at Texas, and Rick Barnes. If those guys' contracts remain the same, he jumps 4 and 5, Chris Beard and Rick Barnes, right? And that only leaves
Krzyzewski's
retiring. Yeah. Right. So, after this year, he could be the 3rd highest paid coach. And Coach K, at $7 million a year, whoever they bring in to replace him is not making $7 million a year. Right. They're going to take a haircut until they're proven.
Sure.
But, they're not just going to pay $7 million. They paid for results with Coach K because they found their lifetime coach. So I don't know. Third highest paid, and you got what you wanted really, which was more important, was money for the assistants.
Right.
Raises for your people. He took care of his people. Even the damn video guy got a raise, I think. So I love it.
Yeah.
I think it's a great story.
I love it too. I think one of the things that about Bruce Pearl is here's a guy, we talk about coaches being professionals and they do their job. Here's a guy who you can almost argue is an Auburn man in terms he's embraced this community. He's embraced the university. He does more than just do his job and coach, win games, develop players, and do that as a basketball coach. That's what we pay him to do. We don't pay him necessarily to go out and be shirtless at a football game in a student section cheering on the football team.
Mm-hmm.
We don't pay him to go out and talk about the academic part of this university and how we're excelling in our different schools. Like, not a lot of coaches do that. Right. And so you have a guy who is all in with Auburn, and we've proven that we're all in with him. And he has the results to go along with his support of the university, which makes it a slam dunk. If you're the administration, you got to lock this guy down, because it's difficult to find a coach it's tough to find a coach who can just win games and develop players.
Facts.
But to find one who can do that and love you, the university, as if he went here, it's just a no-brainer to me. And so
he's become a true ambassador for Auburn University, not just Auburn basketball.
Absolutely.
That's fact.
Absolutely. Before we get to the break, I want to go to Jazzy Joe's super chat. Jazzy Joe says, why would his agent swirl rumors that would take his players, Bruce Pearl's players' mind off games?
Because they know it's all good.
Yeah.
Right? Because he's talking to them. So trust me, I'm sure he's taking care of that on his end, right? So inside that locker room, they knew what the deal was. Nobody was worried that Bruce was leaving inside that locker room. Nobody.
Yeah. I don't think any of the players for any moment, thought, I was going to be petty. It's me. That they were getting the Derek Mason treatment of like, it's all good, guys. I'm still going to be here. And then he ends up somewhere else, right? Like, I don't think that they thought that for a moment. So
one second.
You said you was going to say something petty?
Yeah.
I missed it if you did.
No, petty ass.
It's all true though.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was getting at. Anyway, Stuart Donald says, love the beatdown of OU almost as much as Bruce's new deal. We're going to talk about that after the break, guys. Be sure to do us a quick favor. Smash that like button, guys. Those of you, we appreciate you who are in our comment section interacting with our community. But if you just happen to be watching, do us a favor and at least smash that like button. Guys, you are watching the Weekend Tailgate. We will pause to acknowledge the sponsors of the War Report.
The War Report's Weekend Tailgate Show is brought to you by our generous sponsors. University Ace Hardware, located at 2101 East University Drive in Auburn, Alabama, right across the street from the Auburn Mall and next to the movie theater. For all of your hardware needs, Ace is the place. AuburnSports.com. For news and notes on all things Auburn sports, head over to AuburnSports.com. And our giveaway sponsor, GWT2 Energy. If you want the best in the business at restaurant logistics, check out our friends at GWT2Energy.com.
Hey, become a patron. We need you to do this. The world needs you to do this. Just do this. $5.99. Become a patron on our YouTube homepage. A number of you hit me up asking, how can I become a patron? Because you can't see that join button from your iPhone. The easiest way is to find a computer. However, you can go through your browser and view YouTube in desktop mode to see that join button. It's a little bit of pain in the butt to log in. So, hey, at the end of the day, this is the best way to support our content with a small monthly contribution. If enough people do this, man, we are going to be bringing you guys that fire. So become a patron, help us out. Also, help out the Lee County Humane Society. They're out here trying to do some good in the world. We're trying to help them. 50 cents on every dollar donated goes to them to help them #save all the puppies. And we'll find a link to this in our about section. So go do that, please. We're giving away a t-shirt to memorialize the greatest injustice in the history of college basketball. A lot of hopes and dreams died this day. They're alive again. We've overcome, but we overcome by not forgetting that Virginia double dribbled. You can have this t-shirt. You're going to be the second person to have this t-shirt. So #get your weight up in the comments. This is brought to you by GWT2 Energy. We love giving away merch to you guys. If you win this t-shirt, we're going to need a picture on social media. So make sure you flex on them for us and get this done. So #get your weight up. You don't want to miss that. We're going to pull at the 1 hour mark. If you do not win the t-shirt, you can just buy one and support us that way. So visit our merch store. You can find that in the about section of our YouTube channel. We are on podcast. So check us out on every single podcast platform. We're putting more content out there 4 or 5 days a week for you guys to consume. We need you guys to help us out. Go over there, download, leave a review, let them know, subscribe, let them know that the War Report is where you want to be in terms of podcasts. And then I want to give a special shout out to our sponsor, Prize Picks. So
yeah,
we are, if you've noticed, we've been dropping this betting segment. Ike had a pretty good card yesterday for Oklahoma, hit 3 out of the 4 metrics, won a little money. You can win some money too by creating an entry on Prize Picks. Guys, one of the best ways to support us is by supporting our sponsors. Prize Picks has been an excellent partner. We moved on from BUSR to work with Prize Picks. They're just a great company. And so we want you to jump in and this is the gamification of the game, right? Where we go through metrics and pick things together. It's a really fun way to do it. 100% okay in the state of Alabama. So prizepicks.com, use code rapport so they know you came over from the rapport, and they will actually give you 100% match on your first deposit. So if you put in 50, they'll put in 50 and you'll have 100, and you can $10 a bet kind of just go along with us as we get through this. So prizepicks.com, code rapport, visit PrizePicks.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Let's talk about yesterday, man. Auburn took to the heart.
Let me grab this from Wesley real quick. It feels like free money to take Debo on rushing yards today and targets. So if you can, I think he had something like 6 targets on the Prize Picks when I looked at it, and he'd need to get 37 rushing yards. If he doesn't break 40 in rushing yards, I'd be shocked. If he doesn't have more than 6 targets, I'd be shocked. You said the AFC Championship specifically, though. I looked at Joe Burrow, only needs 8 rushing yards to hit his total for today. And Clyde Edwards-Helaire only needs 36 rushing yards. I think both of those are going to be possible. What else in the AFC Championship? Tyreek Hill is only needs 7 catches. So yeah, there's quite a few good things out there to be able to get for the championships Sunday. Anyway,
Also,
continue.
Jazzy Joe laughing, gotcha. This 5 is for Petty Ike. Thank you, Petty Ike. Let's talk about the game, man. As part of the SEC Big 12 Challenge, there was a few teams that matched up. Ours was against Oklahoma, who at one point in the season was ranked. Actually, I think this is the second SEC opponent they faced. They faced Arkansas early in the year and kind of made easy work of them during Arkansas's kind of slide. Arkansas has gotten a little better as the season has gone on, but Auburn routs Oklahoma 86-68 at home. They improved to 20-1, extending their winning streak to 17, which is the longest in the country. We are currently, I believe I read here, where we're currently tied with the 98-99 Tigers for the second longest winning streak in program history. Auburn has won 40 consecutive non-conference games at home under Bruce Pearl. Good times here, man. Let's talk about the player of the game. Fans, you have voted, you've decided, and here it is. Jabari Smith Jr.
Wow.
23 points, 12 boards, 2 assists, a block in 31 minutes of action, bouncing back from the game he had on the road against Missouri. He came back pretty strong. Leading scorer of the game, definitely was a big part of our win. A beautiful, amazing stat line there. Guys, your thoughts on Jabari and his bounce back game? I will start with you, Ike.
Listen, if you watched my prize pick segment, I said, you know what? I should probably take Jabari on the points. He's going to have a bounce back game. He did. He came out shooting the ball well. I talked about this a little bit in the post game where we talked about the Missouri outing. He wasn't getting his shots to fall, but I like how he decided to just go away from just a straight, spot up and shoot the ball situation. And he went back to that in this game. He recognized smaller players on him. So he's like, all right, cool. Let me just back this dude down and take my turnaround over the top of him. This is free money, right? Like, I'm not going to settle for a shot that is low percentage when I can get an easy bucket over this guy, or this guy's not as quick as me. Let me just put it on the floor and get past him. Like, he was doing the things necessary to get to his spots, and he still had the spot up game working too, right? Like, he's just a very fluid athlete on the offensive end, and still putting in a ton of work. As you see, 12 boards, putting in a ton of work in other facets of the game to make sure he's being impactful. Love the game that he put together yesterday. He didn't turn the ball over a lot. He didn't look super indecisive in the open floor. There were not a lot of things to be disappointed or upset about the game that Jabari Smith turned in yesterday against Oklahoma. Very good game from him all around, defensively, offensively, of course, on the boards. Just a really good game. Still want to see him be a little bit more of a facilitator and be able to pass out of the double team better, but he'll get there.
And do you think him coming on defensively and on the boards has made Auburn a lot more tougher as a team?
Yeah.
Not only are you getting his points, but he's actually affecting the game on the opposite end of the floor with his defense. He's come on as a shot blocker. He's been altering people's shots, and he's with what we saw against Oklahoma was they have a big guy who's a shooter. And so that pulls Walker Kessler out into the perimeter, and he's not in the paint. So his ability to grab those boards, eliminating second chances for Oklahoma, was key for Auburn in terms of that. So I think him getting 12 boards was very significant when you consider who Kessler was guarding.
Right.
So a big point to make there. Mike, talk to me, man. What are your thoughts about Jabari's game?
Oh, man, listen, he did some very Jabari Smith-like things during that game, hitting jump shots over people. I thought he rebounded particularly well in this one. I know that was one of the metrics that I picked on his card, right, was plus 6 on rebounds.
Yeah.
And when I saw that, I was just like, that seems like a lot. But nope, he went out there and he did it. He did 7 or 8 rebounds in that game. he's impressive, and what a failsafe to have, because he's not the only one that can take over the game. And this is something that Bruce Pearl has talked about repeatedly, where, when Wendell Green was at, Eastern Kentucky or wherever he was at.
Yeah, it was Eastern Kentucky.
Yeah, like if he had a bad game, they couldn't overcome it. They were going to lose. And lo and behold, he had a bad game.
Yeah,
against Oklahoma. I still wonder whether or not the injury from Missouri was kind of hampering him some. He didn't look particularly hobbled out there, but Coach Pearl said he'd check in on it. And then, but Jabari just took over, right? Kessler had a good game. It was fun to watch. It's fun to watch this team. Jabari gives you that little extra insurance. If you think about the 2019 team, I can't. Chuma, I think, was the best player, but he wasn't like superstar status, right? Like,
yeah, he came on late in that season.
Yeah. This kid has been good from start to finish, right? So,
right.
I hope he stays healthy and stays in there and goes on to have a great NBA career. But his game, there's nothing I can say that hasn't already been said about Jabari Smith, right? He is. Bruce Pearl in the postgame said he's a pro. He's a pro. He's not scared. He's not scared of the moment. He can carry you. So we're very fortunate to have him.
Agreed. Let's talk about. You've already kind of mentioned this, but we can go ahead and start talking about tools of the game. More specifically, our University Ace Hardware tools of the game.
The University Ace Hardware. Tools to the game.
To the game.
I'm going to actually use this as an opportunity to kind of just give some kudos to a certain player. But mine is, of course, rebounding. We mentioned this earlier, but I want to shout out a particular player, Devin Cambridge.
Yes.
Had 4 boards, but some of them came at a very crucial point because Oklahoma in the second half was making a run. They were trying to close the gap, and Cambridge got 5 points just off of snagging offensive boards. Had a putback, and then he had another putback, which led to him getting fouled, or he actually got fouled on one of the rebounds and hit 2 free throws, and then he scored 2, got fouled again.
Yeah,
and that kind of killed Oklahoma's run. Yeah, so it was a very crucial point in that game. Again, a build off of what he was doing against Missouri, where he had a bunch of offensive boards. The rebounding has been amazing, and against a team like Oklahoma that likes to shoot from the perimeter, getting defensive boards and then eliminating their second chances while giving us second chances is going to kill most runs that those teams have. Yeah. So big ups to Devin Cambridge and these guys for just crashing the boards and doing that, because that played a big part in us basically eliminating their run and pulling away. Mike G, what's your tool to the game, sir?
My tool to the game, maybe a little stranger one, is free throw shooting. This team is kind of sneaky good from the free throw line.
Getting better for sure.
Getting better.
Right. And so 22 out of 26 free throws, they went on a good run in the second half where it just felt like they couldn't miss one. And that is something, because they're really good at getting to the line as well too, because we attack the paint. And people were complaining about like free throw disparity during the Kentucky game, and when I looked at it, I just saw a team that just gets down in there and hustles and battles for 50-50 balls, and they get to the free throw line because of it. So against better teams, free throw shooting can be the difference between winning and losing. And it can also be when you're having a tough shooting night, be the thing that keeps you in there until you snap out of it. So 73% this team is from the free throw line so far this season. The best free throw shooting team we had was the 17-18 Tigers, and they shot 78% for the free throw line. So other than that, we've been in the 60s primarily for the other years. We had one other year in like around 71%. So this is free throw shooting is going to be huge down the stretch, I think, especially when you get into the tournament. And the guys that can control the game, control the clock, and get to the line and just get easy buckets, they're going to have a chance to win a lot of football games and go deep in March. So free throw shooting, I have been actually impressed with. And we seem to be getting the right guys to the line as well, too. Now, against Missouri, was it? Who did we play before Oklahoma?
Yeah.
Missouri.
I think it was Alan Flanagan that hit some really big free throws down the stretch of that game. Did he hit? He hit 4 free throws down the stretch of that game. I thought it was Flanagan.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't Missouri.
I think it was Bama.
Bama that he hit the free throws down the stretch. Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, he just went to the line and just threw them in, and it helped. It was very calming to see him go to the line. He wasn't having a particularly great game shooting the ball, but he just got to the free throw line and sunk them when he had to. And I'm telling you, that is one of those quiet stats that gets talked about when it's really bad, but when it's good, everybody just kind of overlooks it. But 22 from 26 from the free throw line will win you a lot of games. 22 points from the free throw line last night. So free throw shooting for me.
Ike, what's yours, sir?
Listen, man, University Ace hardware tool to the game has got to be my guy KD Johnson. He's just tenacious, man. Listen, there's not a lot of bad things I have to say about KD Johnson. What I love about him, the absolute most. Listen, this is Walker Kessler had an amazing game as well, right? Like he put up a ton of points. He had a ton of rebounds. I think he had a double-double as well, if I'm not mistaken.
I think he did.
But what I like about KD is just in those moments that you talked about, Oklahoma's making a run. He basically is like, yo, just give me the ball. Just give me the ball. And he's going to go try to get a bucket in some sort of way. And he is on go mode from the tip. Like, just listen, jump ball, KD Johnson, go. End of the game, he's on go. He's on the sidelines completely hype. The freaking that Cardwell tried to throw at the end of the game that ended up being like, I was like, I don't know what. He's just energy the entirety of the game, and he's like on the brink of being angry all the time. Like, but it's just it works some kind of way. Like, I don't know, man. I love the energy that he brings to this team.
Our psycho is what Bruce.
That's what he said.
Bruce calls it. Yeah.
But the energy that he brings and the tenacity of like, yeah, I'm just gonna go score right here real quick, and I'm gonna go get us a couple buckets. Y'all good with that? And not set plays, just put the ball in his hands, and he's gonna go get it, right? And I love that fearlessness that he plays the game of basketball with. So, and he was crucial again in another game when we needed him in stretch moments to just go out there, get a couple buckets, get to the free throw line, putting pressure on their team. Like he had a stretch where he gets a bucket, he comes back down, gets a steal, gets fouled, comes back down, gets another. Like he just is like, it was just back to back plays that he was making late in the second half of that game that helped to stem the tide when Oklahoma was making their push. Gotta love it.
One of the things I like about KD's game, Ike, is the fact that he actually can step back on you and hit the three.
Yeah,
like he's not just downhill all the time. Like if you stop, he can step back, and I think that makes him a lot more difficult to guard because that is something you have to account for, and you have to play him honestly. So. Yeah, we can talk about this real quick. Jesse Joe says KD was always
what?
He's about the player for Oklahoma with the long hair. He
the
guard.
Yeah, I saw that on Twitter. People were like, "Who's that girl that plays for Oklahoma?" I was like, "Wait, he was yelling at a cheerleader? That doesn't sound Pete." That doesn't sound very P at all. Okay. Yes, it was an actual Oklahoma player. Got it.
But no, like I like the fact that that's a part of his game, and then again, he makes you defend him honest because you could easily just sink back in the paint knowing that he's coming to you, but he can step back and hit that shot, which means you have to actually guard him honest. And so I love that aspect of his game. Speaking of people who are shooting well from outside, let's talk about one of Mike's favorite players, Big Sexy.
Hey.
He had 2 threes in this game.
He had 2 threes, and Oklahoma had to, again, he started stretching Oklahoma in terms of how they wanted to defend Auburn, because now you have to account for that guy out there hitting shots. And so talk to me about if this continues, we know what he's capable of doing.
Unstoppable. You can't stop. It's unstoppable. Like it literally, like seriously. No, I mean, like, not even being a homer sunshine. How do you defend a team that the one guy you feel like you can cheat off of, right? So let's look at the starting lineup for Auburn. Sep Jasper, KD Johnson, Jabari Smith, Alan Flanagan, and Walker Kessler. The one guy you're supposed to be able to cheat off of in those 5 is Walker Kessler. Now, Flanagan hasn't played particularly well, but you're not just going to leave him wide open, right?
Right.
The one guy you're supposed to be able to cheat off of and sink back down is hitting 3. How do you defend that? Then you put that same guy in pick and roll situations. I just don't know where you go defensively to stop a team if he's hitting 3s and you can't cheat off of him. You just can't. 1 through 5 can hit 3s. Like, this is Golden State Warriors small ball with a 7'1" center.
Yeah, right.
That's not fair. That's cheat code level. Like, you just that becomes unfair at that point. Because listen, you look at Oklahoma, their big guy, their center can hit 3s, right? So you can't cheat off of him. But they don't have the same kind of dynamic 1 through 5. Where literally every guy in that 1 through 5 is dangerous. Again, I get Alan Flanagan's not playing well right now, but you still just can't leave him sitting out there.
Right.
You can't. And then you go to the bench and you got literally the only dude that's coming off of that bench that can't hit 3s is Dylan Cardwell.
Right.
1 through 9 on our team can hit 3. That's not fair. That's not fair. I love it, but it's not fair. Defensively, what are you supposed to do with that? I can't play zone because that's just gonna make it where you can shoot 3s better. So I can't play man to man because they're gonna play the 2-man game out top. And if I sink off of the man to man, somebody's hitting the 3 over the top of that. If I stick, then they're gonna throw a lob over the top. So I have to help on the backside. If I help on the backside off of the wrong person, it's a corner 3. You can't defend it.
And then you got Jabari hitting mid-range jumpers.
It's late in the shot clock. Give it to KD, Wendell, or Jabari, and they just go get a bucket. It's not fair. Yeah, you have to play it honest, and when you play it honest, you get beat. It's just not fair, and I love it.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. Michael, what are your thoughts just with your guy? This is your guy.
Yeah. Listen, we got he is a versatile big man, and he can do a lot of things. So, outside of what he did offense, I think he had 21 points in that game. Didn't he?
21. And by the way, he was 21 and 9. Ike. He fell short of a double-double.
My bad. So one rebound short of it.
I mean, what a weapon, right? And he's scoring points, and he's affecting how many points are being scored because he's altering just about every shot that comes into the paint when he's in the game.
Which, by the way, he should have an additional block shot that was not a goal 10, but whatever.
Yeah, that was definitely a block. So, Kessler is a weapon, and it just points back to what Bruce Pearl was saying about depth and how one guy can have a night off, right? And Auburn will survive because, that's the mark of a championship team is being deep. They're not going to stop playing 10 guys. So, even though Kessler played so well, look how much time Cardwell got as well, too.
For sure.
Right. And he just understands that because you might be one injury away from needing Cardwell to step up. And if he gets no minutes and then suddenly gets, tons of minutes, there may be a learning curve there. So just get it for him now while you're winning. I think he's coaching this great. I mean, Kessler is having a hell of a season.
Yeah.
And having him is definitely a weapon that I think Auburn has just not had before in the past. right? Because we got two big guys on this team between Cardwell and Kessler, right? And I think Kessler should win some award at the end of the season.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
Like, I mean, he's blocking shots at a ridiculous rate right now. He's playing well. And he affects the team. I think I would say, listen, no disrespect to Jabari, but Kessler might, because of his defense, may be the most impactful player on this team.
Yeah, I mean, B. Will says he's the team
yeah.
MVP.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, I would agree with that 100%. Like, I think if we lose Kessler, some of these games get a lot tougher, right? So they've shown they can win in different ways, but one surefire way to win a game is to stop the other guy from scoring, and he does that.
Yeah,
so
he's an eraser on the back end. He's an eraser. So
yeah, I mean, and listen, you can't say enough about our ability, to play defense, though. As out of control as he can be at sometimes, KD Johnson is a tenacious. He's a dog defensively. Like, he is harassing the ball handler all the way up the court. Like, he's just not somebody you can be lazy with your dribble and pass against. He shoots the passing lanes really well to get steals. Zep Jasper is a tenacious on-ball defender. He makes it really difficult for teams to get into their offense. And what the one smart thing Oklahoma did was they basically took everybody out of the paint so that they could make the back cuts and not have, someone from Auburn patrolling back there. But again, you have to give props to Bruce Pearl. He was like, all right, cool. I get it. Your big man can shoot. I don't care. We're gonna play a quasi zone so that those back cuts are running into somebody now. They're making great adjustments in coaching. They have players who can just do, like, again, if you don't look at this team and see the best team in the country, there has to be some sort of inherent bias that you're looking at. I get it. We're not blowing everybody out, but we're also playing a really tough schedule. So I don't know, man. We've played a majority of teams that could be in the tournament and won convincingly double digits in most of those games. So regardless of dry spells, the team puts it together in the ways that matter, and the final score reflects that. So,
well, listen, man, those of you watching on replay, we want to know from you in the comment section. Let us know, man, who was your player of the game? Do you agree with who the player of the game was? What were some things you saw that helped Auburn to run away from Oklahoma in yesterday's game? Definitely want to hear from you guys. Let's go ahead and shout out a new sponsor, our latest sponsor to the War Report, Rogue Shop.
This segment of the War Report is brought to you in part by RogueShop.com.
If you're in need of high-quality, all-natural herbs and extracts that contribute to a happy, healthy lifestyle, the Rogue Shop is the place for you. With a variety of products that contribute to a healthy sleep, lower stress, and a happy mood, the Rogue Shop has you covered. Visit them at therogueshop.com and use code REPORT today. Tell them the War Report sent you.
Big shout out to the Rogue Shop for coming on as a channel sponsor. Please visit therogueshop.com for all your CBD and Delta 8 needs. I can tell you they got some good stuff there. I have partaken, so you should partake as well too. But our guy Richard at the Rogue Shop, great guy. He decided to jump on and really gets behind what we're doing. He believes in the War Report. So please help us out. Again, try to make this simple for you guys. Everywhere you go to support the War Report, use code REPORT. Think Rapport everywhere you go. So that's our code on everything, Prize Picks, and you'll get 10% off on your orders there with code Rapport. But he's a small business owner who is growing quickly, and he's got some really, the mark of any good business is a good product. They've got some great products there, so go check them out.
For sure. Speaking of products, we got a shirt to give away. So you guys know what to do. Hashtag get your weight up in the comments to enter to win. Ike, how are we looking, sir?
Let's see what we got going on. 69 entries today.
69 entries.
People still sleeping.
Yeah, man.
Sleeping
71. We're jumping up here really quickly.
Y'all know what to do. Y'all know what to do. While we wait on that, let's grab some super chats real quick. Alex Wilson says, and by the way, thanks for the super chat. Wardam, Virginia double dribbled, excited for tourney. we'll be fine in football. Bet defense will take a step forward. Where are your curtains, Mike G?
I never had curtains. I've never had curtains. Never. Only blinds. They're gone. It's only bricks. I'm selling bricks. Slinging bricks.
Okay. He admits it publicly. All right. Walt Taylor says the second best face maker to KD has to be Walker. Yes, saw the memes about that. What you got, Ike?
I don't know. Dylan Cardwell might be.
He got some looks too.
Yeah.
Oh no. Walker's was pretty funny.
Yeah, he has some. I'm just talking about like Walker has good faces, but I'm talking about the frequency in which he makes them and just how demonstrative he is. I think Dylan Cardwell's pretty high up there.
Okay. All right. I'm with it.
Your high energy guys are gonna definitely contribute or be a factor in this type of competition.
Katie just looks like he just got out of fucking Arkham. Like,
oh yeah, no, he doesn't care. He just
oh my goodness, like
his face is unfiltered, just wild, thornberries, just craziness.
Oh my goodness, it's scary, man. There's got to be some kind of intimidation tool, right? Like you could probably, if you're defending that guy, you could probably feel his intensity. I mean,
for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely an advantage.
All right, we're at 80.
Yep.
Still waiting?
Nah, we letting it fly, man. We ain't got time for all that nonsense, man. We could possibly have a redraw on our hands, man. We're gonna make it happen.
I saw Corey in there. What happens if he wins twice?
Hey,
Gabby. Now I think Gabby has won before. Gabby,
I think she has too. It feels like she might have.
Gabby, have you won before?
Let us know, Gabrielle. Is this your second time winning something from us?
I'm almost certain Gabby has won before.
Yeah, let's move.
She said I have one before.
She has one before. Okay. Yeah, Gabby, we're gonna redraw. We appreciate you. We definitely want to get it.
It's also possibly a reason why some people aren't putting the get your weight up in because they've won before.
They've won before. I won't have 100 winners.
Right.
Susan
Definitely
Scales.
A new name, Susan Scales. I have not seen
Scales.
that.
Are you here, Susan? Let us know in the comments, just please. And thanks for being cool with that, Gabby, for letting us redraw. Susan, if you're here, please comment that you're here, because there will definitely be people who will say she gone. Okay.
Yeah.
We probably need to make that shirt too, huh? Right.
Equal
opportunities. Equal opportunity going. Yeah.
Yeah. And Wesley already. Yeah. Clifford. Yeah.
Susan's
here.
Yeah. Hey.
Boom.
Hey.
Congratulations. You know what to do.
Business at the War Report. Send us your email and your T-shirt size.
Yeah, your physical address and your T-shirt size.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, your physical address, not your email. I can't send a shirt over email. But yes, give us your address and your T-shirt size so we can get that out to you. Please do not forget your T-shirt size. Super important.
Congratulations again on your new T-shirt, guys. Let's talk about. Before we get into what do we see, let's discuss what's coming up in 2 days. Alabama comes back to Auburn for a rematch, and this game will be on Tuesday. It will be Tuesday, the February the 1st at 8 p.m. Central Time. That's on ESPN in the jungle. It's going to be a late game. 14-7 Bama comes into Auburn Arena to try to knock off Auburn. Will Auburn be crane kicking Bama all over the Auburn Arena when it's all said and done? Guys, what are your thoughts about this matchup, this game? One of the things that the guys said, I watched a little bit of the Alabama game where they beat Baylor. They said that Bama has a tendency to play up or down to its competition. Your thoughts on that, Ike?
Yeah, that's definitely true. They're going to be up for this game. I think it not being at home is going to be a disadvantage for them, though. They are definitely better at home. They feed off of their crowd's energy for momentum. They're not going to have. Listen, they could prove me wrong. I don't feel like their fans travel like that. Their fans might try to sneak and do that for this game. But yeah, I just
they don't want to pay for the tickets, though.
Yeah, I was about to say I just don't know that it's going to be the same type of environment as when our fans were in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's gonna be a difficult game though. It's a rivalry game. They want some get back for us beating them in their building. They might have just used all their upset juice last night though. Like I don't know if they have any more left in the tank because they shot out of their minds last night. Like, let's be clear, they shot almost 60% from the field last night. That is a really, really good percentage for the entirety of the game. So they're going to have to reproduce that shooting night on the road against a really good defensive team. And it's really going to have to be from three. They weren't great from three last night. They're going to have
7 to 21.
Yeah, they're going to have to be better from three because we're not going to give you a bunch of free runs to the rim. And if we're not turning the ball over at the clip that Baylor, again, there are a lot of things. Baylor did a lot of things that allowed this to be a game where Bama could eventually, come out with the victory. Auburn just doesn't tend to do those same things when we're at home. So it's going to be a difficult game. They're really going to have to heat up from three for this to be even close.
And by the way, Bama is 1-4 on the road so far this year. So they, to your point, Ike, they have not been particularly strong on the road. So they would have to break a lot of trends and patterns for you to even get a win because we know what they can do at home. They're tough at home, but on the road, it's a different story. I think Bama had an opportunity to actually jump back in the top 25 had they not have lost to Georgia last week.
That is a resume killer.
Yeah. So it's like a Dr. Jekyll. It's like a bipolar thing with this team.
Yeah.
But it's basically they are a different team at home than they are on the road. That's basically what it boils down to. And so they got some head scratching losses, but some impressive wins. They got some on a neutral site, but at home, if they can get a big team there, which makes our win there even more impressive because they fought us tooth and nail down the stretch of that game. So I'm curious to see how they get up for this game. What happens if they get down and the crowd is really into it? How do they bounce back? What do they feed off of? Mike G, your thoughts?
Ike made a good point. Yeah, that Georgia game is like, you win Baylor. And it's like a job interview where you go in and they're like, oh, we see you have your PhD in 10 years of experience in your field. And then you see the Georgia loss and it's like, oh, but your last employer said you resigned by leaving a bag of poop on your boss's desk. So we're not going to be able to hire you, right? Like
the end of their season is tough enough without losing to Georgia.
Right.
They've got Auburn, Kentucky.
This is a make or break week for them.
Yeah, Arkansas, Kentucky again, Texas A&M, Ole Miss. And I'm telling you, there could be 6 more L's there.
I was about to say, there is not a guaranteed win left on their schedule.
Nope, not one. Ole Miss, is dangerous. Arkansas is dangerous. Mississippi State is dangerous. Maybe South Carolina. I don't know. They're kind of tough. I don't know. This is a tough year in conference. So we'll see. It's just how you win a game like against Baylor. It epitomizes what Ike has said about them being kind of a streaky team. When their jump shots are working, they shot 59.4% from the field. They're hard. Anybody would be hard to beat shooting 60% of the field from the field. But can you do that consistently enough? And then what happens when you run across a team like Auburn that's just not going to let you play to your strengths? Right, they're going to run them off that 3-point line, and they're going to,
run them directly into a shot blocker. So
correct,
it's like,
right,
So it's going to be very difficult, I think. But I don't know. Bama is Bama. It would be nice to sweep them. If we lose the game, it won't be the end of the world. I hope we don't lose this one. Oh God. Yeah, right. I don't even see the memes that will come out after this one.
Yeah. They'll be trying to crane kick in a handstand or something if they win this game. They just do something crazy.
Crane kick on the
they have a particularly annoying Bama fan on Twitter. Her name, she's like a comedian or something. Her name is Lacey something. I don't even want to try to pronounce her last name, but she just every day posts about Auburn, and it's so weird to me. It's weird. And she's definitely trying to stir up controversy, but I think it's interesting that their fans live in this, other dimension, right? They're on this other plane where even when they're losing, they're somehow superior. And this win, I think, would go a long way to just kind of establishing, some humility in their fan base, because we just gave our coach a brand new contract. And I thought it was great that we come out with a dominant performance right after he gets a new contract. So you come back and then you beat Bama and you possibly beat Kentucky after that. And you've just established, right? Like, no, I'm sorry. You beat Bama and you continue to win down the schedule. And you just established why we made that move to give Bruce Pearl all this money.
Yeah.
But I don't know. This game, at the end of the day, it doesn't mean it means something to us, but in the big picture, Auburn has a resume left that they can accomplish all their postseason goals, regardless of whether we win this game or not. So I'm going to go out there and say, regardless of whether we win this game or not, we're still the number one team in the country. The polls may not play it out that way, but this is the best team in the country, regardless of the outcome Tuesday.
Guys, talk to me about your thoughts. Last time they played, Walker Kessler was in foul trouble, and he's managed to stay out of foul trouble lately. Talk about how different things are for Bama on offense if Kessler is out there, not in foul trouble, disrupting the flow of their offense.
Yeah, I mean, like, we forget, because of how close that game was, that without Walker Kessler, we were out to a double-digit lead against Alabama, and they made a huge comeback. I just, and it was because late in the game they started hitting a couple threes, right? Like, and we were turning the ball over. We had some dry spells. I just don't know that they're going to be able to do the same thing in our home court. And if Walker Kessler's not in early foul trouble and our rotations are solidified, where you don't have, Dylan Cardwell playing the bulk of minutes and he's just not an offensive threat, it's just different. So I just don't know where they go to be able to generate any momentum. They don't have the home floor. They won't have our rotations out of whack. Just, I don't know, man. It's a tough game for Bama. Like, it really is. It's a tough game for them to win, considering the fact that this team doesn't look like they've lost their swag with a number one ranking. Everybody's like, oh, they're going to get number one. And we almost put it 20 on Oklahoma. Like, right. They just not a thing. They looked at Missouri and said, oh, see, they got distracted. No, Missouri just played their butts off and were shooting ridiculously well for periods, for stretches in that game, especially in the first half. It's just a different kind of animal that we've got brewing right now, and it's going to be tough for people to get W's, and it's not going to be any different for Alabama.
Yeah, you're going to have a game like Missouri in any championship run, right? Like, and we're winning our off days, and other people are losing their off days. Right. Baylor had an off day; they didn't win. Right? Auburn is winning theirs. I think that can't be overlooked, glossed over as some small fact, right? Like, and as number one, you are getting everybody's best shot every single night. Every week that you carry that mantle, somebody's looking to be the Kingslayer, the Giant Slayer, right? And they've got to account for that as well too. So they weren't distracted. Bruce Pearl really tried to stress, we took this game seriously. They're taking every game seriously. I just don't. The focus and effort will not be the reason that Auburn loses a basketball game this year. Just won't.
Right.
This team isn't built that way. That's not in their DNA.
You guys got a prediction? Who wins?
I'm picking Auburn.
Okay, Auburn.
That's not even a homer pick. I just don't know that Bama has. Again, they're going to have to shoot out of their minds from three specifically to win this ball game and play the best defense they've played all season. They play defense well in spurts. They're gonna have to lock up, and I just haven't seen them lock anybody up this year.
Right. I think you said it best. They play. I think all of that goes together. When they're in a rhythm, they defend. They defend better. They do a lot of things better. But when they're off, they're off. And it showed against Georgia. Like, Georgia was able to just get offense against them. Georgia. Yeah. So Depending on what happens, if they can't get punched in the mouth, do they stay down? Do they fight back like they did at home? It's going to be interesting. I got Auburn winning this matchup.
sure.
The road game to Coleman Coliseum had me a bit concerned. I felt like Auburn was going to pull that out anyway. I feel much confident given what we know about Bama on the road. I like Auburn. Well, guys, let's get to one of y'all's favorite segments. Let's talk about what we saw on yesterday or last week.
What did we see?
It's always disappointing. Well, I think this might be the first time we've done What Did We See without B. Will here. But
yeah,
he's in the comments, so maybe he'll just put his What Did We See there.
He may do that. For me, the SEC is a top basketball conference. I think we've proven that we can go head to head with the Big 12. I think we are better than the Big 12 this year.
Yeah, top to bottom, I don't think it's debatable.
We are better. We beat them. This is the second. We won the challenge last year, actually. And you look at what Kentucky did on the road to Kansas, and they played up Kansas as this amazing place, and Kentucky went in there and just kicked over their chair, muddied up their couch. Like they really dominated Kansas on the road. Florida won their game. I think we won 6-4. Florida showed up in their matchup. Ole Miss, Arkansas, Alabama, Auburn. These schools did their part. And I think from top to bottom, when you look at schools who aren't ranked but are dangerous, like in Arkansas, Tennessee lost. Tennessee had an amazing comeback because they were down by like 17 with like 4 or 5 minutes or so left in that game. Came up short, but had an amazing comeback and fell short. They're not to be overlooked. Florida, we have to go on the road to play them. You can't overlook a Florida. They are a really good defensive team. And I just think our conference has gotten so much better. The reason why I won't say that they are the top, because the Big Ten is still out there. And you got programs like Purdue, Michigan State, Wisconsin, Illinois. I'll be curious to see. I would love to see how we would look in a challenge against that conference, so we would know for sure. But I think with the ACC taking a step back and is really just being Duke and everybody else now in that conference, you look at the fact that we went basically beat the Big 12. The Big 10 is the other conference out there. And I think SEC, who has been known as a football conference, now is a basketball conference and is a pretty good one at that. So, who's next?
I got it because I've been waiting to talk about this.
Let's go.
The Kentucky pivot on Pearl. When I say the Kentucky pivot, I mean the entire state of Kentucky. I'm talking about the Wildcats. I'm talking about Louisville. I'm talking about the state of Kentucky out here. Before Bruce Pearl got his contract extension, was talking about how Auburn couldn't maintain Bruce Pearl, and why wouldn't he want to go to a program like Louisville or a program like blah, 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 this and this and that. Auburn and their little Cracker Jacks of a box of an arena and, home field, all this nonsense that they've been talking. Then after he signs the contract, we ain't want him no way. And Auburn ain't never that good. And what happened? What happened? Just last week, you had all the energy in the world for how great a coach Bruce Pearl was, and he deserves to be at a blue blood program. Now all of a sudden you didn't want him, or he's always been a scam artist and he's a cheater and he deserved. What happened, Kentucky?
What happened, baby?
What happened? I thought you loved Bruce. I thought he was too good for us. Oh. Now you see he doesn't want you. Now he's you like the gas station dude that hollers at the girl and be like, "Hey, what's up, baby? Can I get your number?" She's like, "No, I'm good." Well, you ain't even that fine anyway. That's you.
I wasn't no way.
That's you right now, Kentucky. State of Kentucky as a whole. Your fan base is a little. Is that Is that salt I taste?
The number one producer of salt in the country.
Yeah, buddy.
All the Mortons.
Feels oddly salty in the air.
Lowry's.
Beware anyone who's driving through the state
Lowry's.
of Kentucky. You may just feel random salt showers as you pass through. You're salty. And you're still in our comment section, Kentucky fans, after losing to us. Why are you here? You don't have any channels, any fan channels in Kentucky to talk about your wonderful programs that you've built through all these years? You know, the one that's got one title in like the last decade. That's so amazing, right? And you're a Hall of Fame coach that's delivered you one title since. Oh, yeah. What's wrong? Are you okay? Do you need a hug? I don't have a hug for you, but I'm just wondering if you need one. Just get over yourselves just a little bit, okay? All right? Okay, bye-bye. Good talk.
Yeah, listen, put a cap on that. God, they were annoying. And the things that were put out there that were clearly just they were clickbaiting people, the writers, the amount of writers who were like clickbaiting people, it was insane. In spite of all the obvious things that Bruce Pearl himself was saying that pointed to the opposite.
Yeah.
Right now,
Right.
if you guys haven't figured out how this man operates, he's not going to speak when he doesn't have to, if it's not in his best interest, right, to speak. And he kept quiet, let his agent do his job. And I was just shocked at how many people whose job it is to gather the facts ignore obvious facts for the sake of a story. Unreal. We are not in that business.
Yeah.
Right.
We are not in that business at all. So if you are in that business, more power to you. But, at the end of the day, the amount of things saying that, hey, Bruce, now, if you were making a point that Auburn might potentially mess this up, I couldn't really argue with that.
There's history to suggest.
Yeah, but the stuff that was being reported saying that he had a strong interest in going elsewhere was so ridiculous.
Yeah.
Right. That's the stuff that I'm talking about when I'm talking about the writers. The writers suggesting that Bruce Pearl was looking to jump and that he would jump in a heartbeat if this job opened or this job opened. Or why is Louisville a better job than Auburn right now?
Because their arena holds so much more, and Louisville has history.
Who cares?
He's not going there to be a history teacher. Nobody care about your history.
Right.
Right.
And I don't want to, again, I gotta plug our own interview. During our interview, Ike asked the question of the year about new bloods and blue bloods. And he responded, and he's like, guys,
definitively,
Auburn is not a blue blood. I'm never going to be it will never be a blue blood as long as I'm in charge. So I don't know about new bloods, but we are going to stay humble and we're going to stay hungry. He doesn't give a damn about y'all history.
Right.
And he doesn't strike me as the type of guy that goes on camera and says things he doesn't mean to mislead and misdirect.
Yeah.
So like, I just didn't understand it. When I talked about it through the vein of the interview that we did with him. He sat in front of us, looked through the camera into our souls and told us how he felt. And I believed him. I was like, all right.
Yeah, I did not expect the response he gave to that question, but it was, to me, as definitive a response of I ain't going nowhere, without him directly say I have absolutely no desire to leave Auburn, especially not just because some team has history as a good basketball program. I don't care. Like, I don't care anything about any of that. That's basically what he said.
Right. And then his comments after were even more damning for those people who were reporting that. He was like, guys, this wasn't that hard.
Right.
And it got done. I believe it because it got done very quickly. It was like days. Quickly. Right. So he was like, this wasn't that hard. I already had made the decision to dig in. I bought my forever home out at Lake Martin. You know what I mean? We love this community. I know some people who know him, really well. I know one girl who sits on his Outlive board, and the way they talk about him, it just seemed like he's not right in a place in his career where he's going to flight somewhere else just for money. His main concern was just being able to have the tools to continue to be successful over the back nine and taking care of the people within his purview. That's it. That's what all Auburn had to do. Give him his facility that he's asking for and, pay the man a decent wage, right? And then take care of his assistants who have been there with him, helping him accomplish the job. When we asked him, he thanked everybody from assistant coaches down to the video guy. He credited everybody with the success that we've had. So of course he wants to take care of those people, man. I love that. I love that. So we got really lucky.
And I think too, it's just so fickle. Going back to your point before we get to yours, Mike, about how fickle programs like Louisville and Kentucky and these other programs were. They didn't even. Bruce Pearl was free 8 years ago.
Yeah, y'all didn't step up to the plate then and decide.
He was damaged goods at that time. You didn't want no parts of him. But now that he's rehabbed his image, so to speak, he's a great coach. We always knew him to be. Now he's hot. You all on him. No, stay up there. You good. We good. We got him. He's riding with the people who was willing to invest in him when he was at his lowest professionally. No, thank you. Mike G.
Trash.
Mine is Brian Harsin throwing biscuits, or Biscuit Brian, if you will. He was out trying to capitalize on some of the positive momentum that this basketball team has built to buy some goodwill with the fans. And I think this was a smart move on his part, given everything that's, going on in his program right now. So football has got some work to do, guys. They've got some work to do in terms of perception. There have been significant investments made in football already, so their facility is already on the way. I think they've broken ground on that already. He is getting paid like a top 15 coach, and we just need some top 15 results to match. So, with Mason leaving and, Eason leaving and, just the perception around, the nervousness around what product we're going to put on the field, he needs to be out there building some positivity. He can't hide in his office. And I think that he's learning that right now. You can't be the coach on campus that is viewed as impersonable and not friendly and not, out there and transparent. Now, he doesn't have to be Bruce Pearl. He doesn't have to be flexing with his shirt off. That's not what I'm saying. Right. But
he's probably in better shape than Bruce, so he's probably more equipped to do that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. I don't know, man. Bruce was like, he old man. He was old man strong, right? Like, a flat stomach is not always mean in shape, right? So that's his genetics.
I think Brian Harsin's in better shape than Bruce.
I don't know, man. Listen, I wouldn't try Bruce. I wouldn't try Bruce at a bar. Like, he might.
I wouldn't try Harsin either. But go ahead. Go off.
So my whole thing is there's a little bit of a PR campaign that needs to be done, and given what we know about him. Talking to beat writers who have covered him at Boise State and now at Auburn, right? I mean, he's a no BS guy who just, is not really into the politics of the job, and he just wants to coach football. And you gotta, if you want to be in that zone, you gotta win more than we did last year, right? So until then, you're gonna have to do a little politics, and you're going to have to, win the hearts and minds of the fans. Right. So you can't be losing and unlikable. That's not going to work. Right. So he's got a little bit of I don't want to say like his image was never bad in my book. Right. But I think that basketball has put a little pressure on them to help continue the culture of fan engagement and building excitement. So it would be nice to help build some excitement for this football season. Small things like this, capitalizing on the success that basketball is having to get out there and interact with fans, I think is a really good, positive step in the right direction. So throw them biscuits, Coach Harsin. Throw them biscuits. slang biscuits if you have to.
Throw them biscuits.
Yeah.
Beaver says Biscuit Brian. I don't like that.
So I call it your ass Biscuit Brian. It was just, I saw him out there, just smiling, and he was received very warmly by the students who he came in contact with, which was nice. It just needs to do more of that, man. You're not gonna dodge the politics of being an Auburn head coach. You're just not.
Yeah, listen, this is the one time that I will agree with those people who say the transition to this school will be difficult for Brian Harsin because this is not Boise, right? Like, you do something up in Idaho, Nobody cares. Like if he's not personable in Idaho, nobody cares for real. Like they're the Cinderella
Right.
team. So them just winning football games is all
Mhm.
that matters. There's a lot more that goes into being a coach in the SEC than just winning football games. You have to do the winning football games part. So I'm not mad at him for focusing on that first,
Mhm.
but you have to win a little goodwill as well, because that is what allows you the runway when you're not winning. So you got to
Right.
figure out
Right.
how to do both of those games simultaneously, which is all that more important why who he hires as his assistants are going to be meaningful, right? Because if I have to take my focus away from football, it's going to be an interesting thing this year. If he's going to be the primary play caller, he's going to have way more football duties this year than he would have had
Right.
last year.
Right.
So, like, how is he going to balance both of those worlds? And that means, winning is going to be paramount, right? Because he's not going to have time to do this other stuff. So you got to win ball games.
Right.
So it's going to be interesting to kind of see how that plays out going forward.
Good points. Good points.
Hold on, let me just grab this in here. B. Will did say his "What did we see?" Texas A&M lose at home. He had been riding on them on betting lines, and they dropped a home game to a mediocre South Carolina squad. I was worried about our game against them, but not so much now. I don't know that I can say that I'm not worried about that. Like, again, South Carolina's
He
not
may
the
not
number one
be
team in the
as
country.
worried.
Yeah,
but-
South Carolina's not the number one team in the country though, and they're gonna play differently against us as far as effort and focus than they would against
Right.
South Carolina.
Right. Right. And this is an A&M squad that's looking for a big win. They need a big win on their resume.
Yeah.
What better way to get that against us? So I'm not that I'm saying B is overlooking them and not as
Yeah.
worried.
Yeah, I
but
don't think that's what he's saying.
the target is still on our back, and A&M is a team that's definitely going to shoot for it. So,
Right.
Ben Bloodworth says, can we talk about how we saw the Bama Secretary of State of Alabama get into Twitter arguments with Auburn fans and trash our athletes and facilities?
What
I
you
don't know if I
talking
saw
about, Ben?
this.
Ben,
I didn't see this. I am
don't know if
barely
I
ever
saw
on
this.
Twitter, so I did not see
DM me
this.
on Twitter, Ben. I need to see
Yeah,
that.
yeah, holler at us, Ben. We want to know more. Or put his Twitter handle out there if you got it. I'm curious. We love doing I love doing homework when we're not on the show. So yeah, definitely send that to us, man, for sure. I'm not familiar with that. Jazzy challenge. I'm going to give y'all each a player. Y'all got to pick if they go over or under their points per game average for the Bama game. Each correct pick is $100. I get Jabari, Ike gets Wendell, B Will gets KD, Mike gets Big Sexy.
Oh,
Let's go.
man. What's he averaging? Oh, man. I like this one. And he
I
makes picks.
love this challenge.
there's
Hey,
Right?
listen,
no,
this is right up
thinking
my
with it.
alley. I'm doing prize picks anyway, so I'm definitely going to be looking into this.
Can we start calling these the Jazzy Challenge?
Yeah, we might have to make this a section of the
Everybody
show.
say it's going to have to be a segment, man. The Jazzy
This got to be
Challenge.
the Jazzy Challenge.
Well,
Let's see here. Let me look.
Like,
at
don't
all-
you gonna make me do this on the fly again? Why you gotta make me do it on the fly, bro?
yes,
Yes,
absolutely.
we got to do this on the fly. We
This
have
is
to.
very interesting. I get Kessler.
I'm pulling up this. So Jabari is averaging 15.6 points a game.
Mm-hmm.
He is.
I got him going over.
Jabari. You got over on Jabari.
I got over on Jabari.
Walker is averaging 11.3. I'm gonna go. Wow, man. I feel like I have to go over as well. I'm going over against Bama.
Mm-hmm.
I think. Wait, what did he do against Bama last time?
He was in foul trouble. He barely saw the floor.
That's right. That's right. Ooh. Is it time for somebody else to break out like that? Like this Wendell Green break out this game?
I was gonna pick the over for him because I think he's due for a bounce back. I just need to look and see what his
They
averages
all ain't gonna
are.
get over. I'm gonna go over on Walker. I mean, the whole lob thing they got going, it feels like he's guaranteed like 3 of those a game. And he's a great free throw shooter as well, too. So I feel like is he only 66% from the free throw line?
Yeah,
Feels like
I don't know if great is a good word for
Yeah,
Walker
it feels like
Kessler.
he's better than that.
Yeah.
B. Will is
Wendell's
also said
averaging 12.
over. B. Will is going over for KD.
If we all pick over, that's a blowout, right?
Good. Blowout. Over.
That is a
I'm
huge
okay with that.
blowout, right? Like, I mean, if all those guys beat their averages, Bama has no chance.
I just know that Jabari was different. Unless he just has a shooting slump, he's going to be up for this game, playing into the crowd. I see him getting up for this game. I really do. And I'm not saying he scores another 23 or 25 like he did in Tuscaloosa, but I think he gets over 15.
I'm gonna pick the under on Kessler. And the reason I'm gonna go with the under is I think most of his energy gets put into defense in this game. Okay. We run them off the 3-point line. They're gonna have to come down to the block, right? Like, I don't know. And I could see KD and Wendell going off here. So they're going that pick and roll at some point. Teams are going to have to start to defend it, right? At some point. I mean, if he's going to step back and hit threes, then I would always pick the over, as he hit 2 threes in the last game. But I don't expect him to be jacking up threes. I'm going to go under. I'm going to go under on Walker, but not because I don't think that he's the man, right? Yeah. Like, I just feel like that could go either way. But it doesn't mean he's having a bad game.
That's tricky, Mike.
It doesn't mean he's having a bad game, right? But he affects the game in so many different ways. He does not have to score to have a positive impact on this game.
I agree, but he's going to be playing more in the paint, I think, in this game, which means he could have some putbacks.
Okay,
be thinking about that. I'm just saying.
Evan, I'm going over. I'm going over.
Hey, I'm going over too. I don't care.
And a blowout.
I'm just saying he's not playing. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, the opportunity for second chance points can potentially be there for Kessler.
Yeah. Okay.
Assuming he doesn't get in foul trouble. Assuming.
Yeah. I'll pick the over.
Okay. All right, what you got? You said you over too?
I'm going over, man. I think he's due for a bounce back game. His averages for the season is only 12.5 or something like that. It's 12.1. Yeah, he's getting at least 13 points this game.
Okay. All right. Well, it sounds like a good night for the good guys. We can't wait to see it on Tuesday night. Remember, it's at 8 p.m. Central Time on ESPN, a late game, but should be a fun one for us. So, guys, let us know your thoughts on your predictions about this game. Who you like, who you think is going to go off. Does everyone go off? Is it a close game, a blowout? Let us know your thoughts for sure. Mike G, as we close, man, tell people what you got.
I got this dude, John Merrill, that Ben was talking about getting clapped on Twitter. Holy crap. He is getting his cheeks clapped by Auburn Twitter. Wow. Boy, he ran into the wrong one. Thanks for that, Ben. That's going to be interesting to read. Anyway, become a patron. $5.99 on our YouTube page. We are putting out a lot of content. So if you've noticed from the War Report, we're into everything now. We've been covering a little bit of gymnastics. So with your support, we begin to expand and cover more of Auburn sports. So not just basketball and football. We'll give you guys a little flavor of some of the other sports going on as we grow. So becoming a patron and become part of the reason that the War Report continues to grow month after month. We appreciate our community. Help us support the Lee County Humane Society. They are doing a great thing down in Auburn. They're helping rescue animals. They help lost animals get home. This is the good that we've chosen to put back in the world. Help us do that by supporting them. 50 cents on every dollar donated goes to them. And you can find this link in the About section of our YouTube channel. Congratulations to our raffle winner for winning the first Virginia Double, or the second Virginia Double Dribble t-shirt. This is brought to you by GWT2 Energy. We appreciate Walt for sponsoring these giveaways every single live stream. So when you see Walt, give him a digital high five. Thank him. If you didn't win, you can buy one. Visit our merch store in the About section of our YouTube channel, or just go to thewarreport.com. That'll take you right there. Click the catalog button and support us by getting a little bit of merch. We're on podcast, every single podcast platform. The War Report is there. So subscribe, download, leave us a 5-star review. Help us climb the podcast charts while we plot world domination. We're doing it on the podcast side as well too. So we're taking out every challenger, every podcast challenger comes at us. It's going down. The War Report's in the house. We need your help. Please do that. Special shout out to our title sponsor, University Ace Hardware. If you're in the Auburn area and you got home projects and tool needs, stop by Ace Hardware. Tell them the War Report sent you. They've been a phenomenal partner for us, since before the beginning of football season. And they've hung in. I really appreciate them. Guys, stop in the store, buy a screwdriver, buy a soda, like literally any way you can. Please help us support the businesses that are the backbone of the Auburn community. We want to support them and keep them viable as they support us and keep us viable. Special shout out to Prize Picks, prizepicks.com. Use code REPORT to get your 100% match on your first deposit. Ike is putting these segments out. So if you're unsure how to do this, or if you have never done this before, we're giving a step-by-step tutorial twice a week. These things are amazing. I like it. It gives me a little extra something to root for while we're watching the game. So when Auburn does well, we can do well. So go to prizepicks.com, code REPORT, put in an entry. But that's it, man. Bama, man. Bama's coming. It's nice to have a game every few days now. Like football is just anticipation all week. Basketball, I get my fix midweek, weekend.
For sure. And there's a lot to talk about during the week, too, about those games as well. So next time you see us, my hope is that we're talking about not only how the fact that we won, but the fact that we were right on our picks about each player as well. So gives us something to definitely go ahead.
National Signing Day.
Oh, yeah.
National Signing Day as well. We got a lot to talk about on Wednesday. That might be a long show. So you guys definitely want to hang out with us. But guys, until then, please, you know what to do. Before you get out of here, share this video on your social media. Just using hashtag Get Your Weight Up. That helps us out. Please be sure. Get the thumbs up. Like this video. If you're new to our channel, subscribe to our channel. Make sure to smash that notification bell so that you will be notified when we drop content throughout the week. And we're pretty much dropping stuff every day now at this point. Guys, on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, we're at The War Report. We're TW Report on TikTok. That's it for now, guys. But enjoy. If you're an NFL guy, enjoy the games today. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Have a great week. And as always and forever, War Eagle.